I have a suspicion there will be some people who will roll their eyes when I name this 8th film that I'm picking for my 10 flicks that made a big impact on me. It's from 1994, and I have to include this because it ushered in a lot of films that had a similar feel, and some were very successful and created their own style, but it was part of this movement toward a blend of comedy, action, rock and roll, pop culture infused, violence usually incorporated, and almost like a kitschy feel to it that only Quentin Tarantino could have unleashed upon us. Now, I did not have the same reaction the first time I saw Reservoir Dogs. So I have to, instead of choosing Reservoir Dogs for my list, pick Pulp Fiction, because this is a film that I saw. I'm very thankful that that was the year that I met my husband, and this is one of the earlier films we saw together. Within the first 6 months of dating, we saw this, and I remember leaving it, and I think we were on the south side of Tampa and happened to be near the old Village Inn off South Del Mabry, which all the local folks will know. And it was right when the original owner died, of the Tampa Bay Bucks. And they had a big sign up on the Village Inn saying, thanks for, all that you've done for our community. All right, I will admit I cheated, and I paused it because I couldn't for the life of me remember the name of Hugh Culverhouse. But it was the day that he had passed. So I guess we saw it in 95. Even though this is a 94 film, we saw it in 95. So it wasn't within the first 6 months of dating because he died, and I'm looking at it right now on January 16th. So it had to be around then. And we were probably anticipating it for the Oscars, which was a good move, or maybe they had already announced them. It's usually around then. And we went to Village Inn and, probably had breakfast. And we sat there, and all we did was talk about this movie. And that, to me, is the ultimate sign of a great, pinnacle, great film, is when you talk about nothing else but what you just watched, whether it's a TV show or movie, what have you. And that continued to be a conversation we had, later that day and later that week. And that really told me, that stuck with me. And yes, I've seen it many, many times since then, and I still love it. And obviously, you never love the movie the way you did the first time. But you see different things and you appreciate different things as it goes on. But I think I had just never seen anything like it before. And, now, since then, it's sort of like the first time you hear famous quotes, they become so much part of the culture that they don't have the same bearing that they probably did the first time he said, "Frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a damn." But, can you imagine the first time? The first time that was said, how people took it? And so I think with this film, I try to go back and remind myself how I felt when I saw it the first time, because I just remember watching it and the way that time was changed around. I really appreciated that they gave us the benefit of the doubt that we could figure things out, and that it could be used in a way to make the plot telling more interesting, the way he reorganized scenes. Obviously, the cast is tremendous. I saw people extend themselves in ways I never had before. I didn't know Travolta and Uma Thurman could be that good in anything. I thought they were good, but I didn't think they were that good. It just captivated me with this cast of characters that was so different. It was bold, inventive, and completely captured my attention and my imagination, and I was in for the ride the whole way, and I continue to be so. And here it is, 23 years later, and I still love that film, and that soundtrack is probably my favorite soundtrack next to maybe Saturday Night Fever. So, awesome film, Pulp Fiction. It isn't hype. It is the real deal.